I leaned back in my office chair, swirling the last drop of whiskey in my glass. She thinks she can ruin me, I muttered to no one, though my assistant Mark was hovering just outside the door. Excuse me, sir? He asked cautiously. I said she thinks she can ruin me, I repeated, voice sharper this time. Vanessa Collins has no idea what's coming. Mark raised an eyebrow. And, what exactly are you planning? I smiled coldly. Oh, nothing she'll see coming. But trust me, Mark, it's going to sting. That's when Sophie walked in. Calm. Silent. Like she owned the room without making a sound. Ethan Parker? Her voice was even professional. I'm Sophie Bennett. Security detail. I studied her for a moment. Sharp eyes. Confident posture. Too calm. You'll do fine, I said, trying to sound casual. But let me warn you, I don't like mistakes. I work to protect, not impress, she replied, unflinching. Her audacity made me smirk. Good. You won't be impressed by much anyway. Just remember your place. Sophie tilted her head slightly. And where exactly is that? I chuckled. Somewhere between standing still and doing your job perfectly. Don't worry, I'll help you remember. The tension in the room was delicious. I enjoyed watching people squirm, but Sophie wasn't squirming. Not even a twitch. I turned back to my desk. Mark, schedule the engagement announcement for Friday. Vanessa will get the invitation directly. Mark blinked. Wait, already? Are you serious? Dead serious, I said, leaning forward, eyes glinting. I want her to choke on every word. This will be her first taste of reality. She'll realize she lost far more than she ever understood. Sophie's eyes flicked toward me. And this has nothing to do with your feelings? I laughed a little too sharply. Feelings? No. This is business. Pure strategy. I paused, watching her reaction. Though, I added softly, admiration can sneak in when you least expect it. Sophie didn't reply. She simply nodded and walked toward the door. I'll prepare the security measures. You'll have no surprises. I smirked to myself after she left. Too perfect. Too competent. Maybe this would be fun after all. Later, as I reviewed the guest list, I couldn't resist imagining Vanessa opening that invitation. Her smug face twisting in shock when she sees my bride-to-be. Sophie. Quiet. Controlled. Unassuming to the untrained eye, but brilliant. I leaned back and whispered, let's see how she handles this. The next day, Sophie shadowed me like a ghost. I tested her, of course. Door locked, right? I asked as we walked down the hall. Yes, she said calmly. And I checked the perimeter twice. I smiled. Good. You're thorough. I like that. Her gaze met mine. Thank you. Something in that single word made my chest tighten unexpectedly. I shook it off. Focus. Revenge first. Feelings later. Maybe never. By the time the engagement announcement went live, I had rehearsed every expression, every casual word, every public smile. Vanessa would hate it. She would think it was a cruel joke. She'd be humiliated and I'd savor every second. Mark tapped my shoulder. It's done. Invitations sent. Social media posts scheduled. Perfect, I said, eyes fixed on the screen. Now we wait. And wait I did, savoring the anticipation. Sophie stood quietly behind me, like always, watching, waiting. I didn't know it yet, but something in her presence unsettled me. Not the kind of unease caused by fear or doubt. No, this was different. Curiosity. Intrigue. Dangerous. But I buried it deep. I had a plan. Vanessa Collins wouldn't know what hit her. And I was ready to enjoy every second of her downfall. I watched Sophie across the office, pretending to review contracts. You always this meticulous? I asked, keeping my tone casual. She didn't flinch. I like my work to be precise. I leaned back, letting my eyes track her every movement. She noticed, of course. Her sharp glance met mine for just a second, then she returned to her notes. That tiny flicker of awareness both frustrated and intrigued me. Ever slip up? I prodded. She smirked faintly. Rarely. Are you asking because you plan to catch me off guard? I chuckled. Maybe. Maybe I just like seeing how people operate under pressure. Her colleague, Marcus Reed, walked by, papers in hand. Hey Sophie, could you check these numbers before the meeting? On it, she said without hesitation. Marcus hesitated, looking at me. Everything okay? Perfect, I said, hiding my curiosity. I noticed how softly Sophie guided Marcus through a correction without embarrassing him. My first thought was weakness. But her quiet confidence quickly overrode that. Later, I leaned against the doorway while Sophie spoke to Marcus about the upcoming security drill. I don't think this approach will work, she said calmly. We should reinforce perimeter checks instead of relying solely on cameras. Marcus looked confused. But management said. I know, Sophie interrupted gently. I just want to make sure we cover every angle. You'll thank me later. I raised an eyebrow, impressed despite myself. My plan was simple. Use her, control her, humiliate Vanessa. But Sophie was unpredictable. A message buzzed on my phone. Vanessa. Ethan, are you seriously going through with this? Think about what you're doing. I scowled. She's already trying to get in my head. I typed back casually, yes, and it's going to be entertaining. Ignore it. Sophie glanced up at me, curiosity flickering in her eyes. Someone bothering you? I waved her off. Just old ghosts. She tilted her head, silent, but I could feel her assessment. I hated that she saw through me even partially. During lunch, I tested her further. So, Sophie, you've worked with high-profile clients before? Several, she said. I keep them safe and they keep me employed. I smirked. Ever feel tempted to bend the rules? She considered it briefly. Temptation isn't the same as action. I stick to my principles. Principles. Such a boring word. And yet, here she was, calm and uncompromising while I reveled in chaos. Vanessa called mid-afternoon. I answered reluctantly. What do you want? I asked. Oh, Ethan, I just wanted to see if you've reconsidered, she purred. You know, the engagement, it's sudden. Don't you think you're rushing? I laughed, short and sharp. Rushing? No, Vanessa. I'm enjoying every calculated step. You should try it sometime. There was a pause. You don't mean that, she whispered. I smiled into the phone. Oh, I absolutely do. You'll see soon enough. She hung up before I could reply. Satisfaction warmed me. Revenge was an art and I was painting in broad strokes. Sophie leaned against the doorway again. She seems intense. I scowled. You could say that. But don't get distracted. Focus on the job. I always focus on the job, she said softly. Her voice reminded me of everything I told myself I could ignore. Using her as a pawn should have been easy. Yet, every word, every glance unsettled my careful calculations. Tell me, I said, leaning closer. Do you ever play games? Strategize against someone who underestimates you? She didn't answer immediately. Then, with a faint smile, she said, sometimes. But I prefer to watch carefully before I make a move. My stomach tightened. Watching her? Not me watching her. Damn it. I pushed the thought aside. Control was still mine. I would not let curiosity or fascination distract me. Not yet. As the day ended, I caught her quietly straightening Marcus's desk. Why are you helping him like that? I asked. She looked up without a hint of defensiveness. He trusts me. I trust him. Isn't that enough? I didn't answer. Instead, I walked away, mind racing. My revenge plan was unfolding perfectly, or so I thought. But Sophie, she was slowly becoming more than a pawn. And I hated that it unsettled me. I would control everything. Vanessa. My plan. My feelings. I told myself that. But deep down, I knew one thing. Sophie Bennett was no one to underestimate. The alarm blared before I even stepped into the hallway. Sophie. I shouted, adrenaline kicking in. She was already moving, calm, controlled, scanning the corridor with precision. Ethan, stay back. I smirked. Perfect reaction. She had no idea it was me testing her. You always this fearless? I called. She didn't glance at me. Fear doesn't help. Strategy does. Move. A security dummy rigged with smoke and flashing lights attacked from the side. Sophie Dove rolled and tackled it with precision. Check the perimeter, she barked. I laughed despite myself. Impressive. But not enough. She spun toward me, eyes blazing. What do you mean? You handled that well, I admitted, trying to keep my tone casual. But if it were real, I trailed off. Would you survive without a scratch? Her lips twitched. I've been through worse. You. Me? I raised an eyebrow. I like to think I survive by staying 3 steps ahead. Her gaze narrowed. Smart, but sometimes luck counts too. Don't underestimate unpredictability. Damn it. That subtle jab stirred something inside me I didn't want to feel. Admiration maybe. Or maybe irritation. I couldn't tell. The smoke dissipated and Derek Shaw, Vanessa's new associate, appeared at the security station on my tablet. Everything's fine over here, he called. I growled under my breath. Of course she's already meddling. Sophie didn't wait for me to answer. Check the backup cameras. I don't trust the sensors entirely. I leaned closer. And you don't trust me? I trust you to move fast, she said evenly. Not to think for me. The tension between us was electric. Every word, every glance carried weight. I wanted to pull her closer, but my plan, revenge, wouldn't allow it. Not yet. Fine, I said, trying to sound nonchalant. I'll play along. But don't think you've impressed me fully. She smirked faintly. I'm not here to impress. I'm here to protect. I leaned against the wall, watching her. My mind raced. I'm supposed to use her. Humiliate Vanessa. But Sophie, she's not a pawn. She's different. Later, Olivia Hayes, Sophie's mentor, called. You testing her? She asked directly when I picked up. Maybe, I admitted. She's good. Good isn't enough, Olivia warned. She has instincts. Trust them. She'll see through anything half-hearted. Don't underestimate her, or you'll regret it. I frowned. Regret is something I don't do well with. Everyone has a breaking point, Olivia said softly. Even you. The line went dead before I could respond, leaving me unsettled. Vanessa called again that afternoon. Ethan, I saw the engagement photos online. Really? Is she, your bodyguard, supposed to be your wife? I laughed, cold and sharp. Yes. And? She hissed through the phone. This is insane. People are talking. You're ridiculous. I leaned back, enjoying her frustration. Ridiculous works sometimes. You'll get used to it. No, I won't. You can't humiliate me like this, she shouted. You already humiliated yourself, I said softly. I'm just giving the final touch. Sophie appeared at the door as if on cue. Sir, perimeter secure. No threats detected. I nodded at her, smirking. Excellent. You're faster than I expected. She didn't reply immediately. Then, almost under her breath, she said, faster isn't always better. Precision matters more than speed. I felt a pang of frustration, or maybe admiration. I couldn't tell. She unsettled me in ways I hadn't anticipated. Later, in the conference room, I confronted Sophie privately. Why do you care so much about Marcus and the team? Her eyes met mine steadily. Because people matter. Not just instructions. Not just strategy. People. I blinked, caught off guard. You actually care about them? Yes, she said simply. Doesn't everyone? I scoffed. Most don't. That's why I have to control everything. She leaned closer, lowering her voice. Control doesn't make you strong. Awareness does. You should try it sometime. My chest tightened. I wanted to argue. I wanted to laugh. I wanted to do 100 things at once, but she had cut through my defenses effortlessly. The meeting ended, but I couldn't shake the tension. Vanessa's latest stunt was already swirling online. Someone leaked a manipulated rumor about me. My jaw tightened. She's relentless. Sophie stood silently beside me. We'll handle it, she said. Calm, unwavering. I wanted to tell her to step back, that this was my fight, my plan. Yet I couldn't. Not with her there. Not with the way she made me feel, unsettled, curious, and more alive than I'd been in months. I shook my head, forcing clarity. She's a distraction. But even as I reminded myself of my goal, part of me whispered that maybe Sophie Bennett wasn't someone I could control so easily. And maybe, just maybe, that scared me more than Vanessa ever could. I slammed my laptop shut, heart pounding. No, she didn't. Sophie, sitting across from me, glanced up from her notes. Ethan? What is it? Vanessa, I growled, leaning over the desk. She's been moving against me, financially. Behind the scenes. Every deal I thought was secure, she's tampered with it. Sophie's brow furrowed. That's serious? How did you find out? I traced a series of transfers. Shell companies, fake investors, the whole mess. She's trying to ruin me. Completely. Sophie didn't flinch. That's calculated. Dangerous. And she's good at it. I laughed, low and sharp. Good? She's pathetic. But that's the problem. I underestimated her before. Not anymore. Ethan, Sophie said softly, leaning forward. You need a plan. But be careful. Revenge can be consuming. I snapped, but not at her. I don't care if it consumes me. She's going to pay. Every last bit. And you're going to help, whether you know it or not. Sophie's eyes narrowed slightly. Help? You mean use me as part of your scheme? Partially, I admitted. But I trust your skills more than anyone. That's why you're here. You'll do this right. Her lips pressed into a thin line. I only follow orders that align with my principles. I won't cross lines for you. I leaned back, letting the tension hang. Fair enough. But understand this, I don't play fair. You'll see what happens when people betray me. Sophie studied me quietly. You're different when angered. Ruthless. I can respect that even if I don't condone it. That made me smirk despite myself. Respect is earned. You'll earn mine if you stick to this. Fail and I let the threat hang unspoken. A notification blinked on my phone. Vanessa. Ethan, you think you're clever. But you'll regret this. You always do. I tossed the phone onto the desk. She never learns. She thinks she can intimidate me. Sophie's voice was calm, measured. She's trying. Don't underestimate her. But neither should you underestimate yourself. I stared at her, caught between admiration and irritation. Why does she always speak truth to me? Why does it matter? I need to tighten security around my accounts. You'll coordinate? I asked, needing her efficiency. Yes, she said immediately. I'll make sure there are no leaks. I leaned closer, voice quieter. And Sophie, I know this is messy. You don't get caught up in my anger, do you? I get involved because it's my duty. Not because of you, she replied firmly. Her honesty struck me harder than I expected. My chest tightened. Duty? I muttered, thinking of how her loyalty contrasted with Vanessa's deception. Don't let her manipulation cloud your judgment, Sophie added. You have a choice. You don't have to let rage guide you. I wanted to argue, but her words lingered. Rage was my weapon, yes, but also my weakness. And somehow, I found myself valuing her counsel more than I should. A knock on the door broke the tension. Marcus stepped in, clipboard in hand. Sophie, security protocols updated as you requested. Ethan, everything seems tight. I nodded. Good work, both of you. But this isn't over. Sophie's gaze met mine again. It's never over with her. But with clarity and focus, it's manageable. I couldn't help but notice the way her words grounded me, even as my mind plotted ruthlessly against Vanessa. Conflicted. Furious. Yet, drawn to her steadfastness. I'll make sure nothing slips, she continued. Even if it means stepping into the shadows with you. I swallowed hard. Shadows? Yes, that was exactly where we'd have to operate. And yet, she made the darkness feel tolerable. Dangerous, yes, but tolerable. You trust me, I said quietly, almost to myself. I trust your mission, not your temper, she replied with a faint smirk. Her honesty stung and somehow I felt exposed. Damn it, I thought. I can't let her see how unsettled I am. I'll handle Vanessa, I said finally, trying to regain control. She'll learn the cost of betrayal. Sophie inclined her head. Just remember, vengeance is a slow burn. Make sure you don't burn yourself in the process. Her words lingered in my mind long after she left the room. I was supposed to be ruthless, calculated, in control. But something about Sophie, her loyalty, her moral compass, her calm in the chaos, had already started to unravel me. And for the first time, I realized this wasn't just about Vanessa anymore. The gala hall was packed, chandeliers glittering above, everyone too distracted by their own egos to notice what I had planned. I smirked as Vanessa strutted in, the image of confidence I wanted to crush. Ethan. Oh my God, everyone look at him. Vanessa's voice rang, sharp with forced cheer. Isn't this exciting? I raised an eyebrow, calm. Exciting enough to ruin the mood? Her smile faltered. What do you mean? I gestured subtly to the large screen behind the stage. The live feed flickered, then displayed a series of private emails Vanessa had sent, financial manipulations, lies, and betrayals. I expected gasps. I expected humiliation. Instead, screams erupted from the crowd, not Vanessa's but someone else's. One of the servers tripped in the chaos, spilling drinks on guests. Candles fell, glass shattered. Panic spread like wildfire. I froze, heart pounding. This wasn't supposed to happen. Sophie appeared instantly, eyes sharp. Ethan. Step back. What? I shouted. It's under control. Clearly it isn't, she barked, grabbing a guest and pulling them out of harm's way. Move. I watched her move, fearless, precise, keeping everyone safe while chaos unfolded. My chest tightened and something I didn't expect bubbled up, admiration, maybe even worry. She was risking herself for strangers, for people I didn't even care about. Are you insane? I hissed under my breath. Her gaze flicked to me. Are you? I swallowed, torn. I wanted revenge, but not this. Not collateral damage. Vanessa shrieked, her high-pitched panic cutting through the chaos. Ethan. You're insane. Oh. I ignored her. I couldn't think about her, not yet. My eyes stayed on Sophie. She directed guests away from danger, her calm voice cutting through screams. "Sir, are you okay?" Marcus called, rushing over. I nodded shakily. I'm fine." Sophie returned to my side, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Are you?" she asked softly, eyes sharp. "You planned this, didn't you?" I froze. Damn it. It wasn't supposed to go like this, I admitted quietly. I wanted humiliation, not collateral damage, she finished. Her voice wasn't accusatory, just steady. "You risked lives for revenge." I couldn't argue. I had. My plan had spiraled, and I realized something I wasn't ready to admit. My anger had blinded me. Vanessa, meanwhile, tried to flee, tripping over a fallen chair. "Ethan, you'll pay for this." I clenched my fists, but not at her. At myself. Sophie grabbed Vanessa gently, helping her up. "Enough," she said. "No one else gets hurt." I stared at Sophie. How can she be so composed? My chest twisted. I was supposed to control her, to use her. And yet, I wanted her to be safe, not just effective. After the gala, I cornered her privately in the hallway. "Sophie," I started, voice low, hesitant. "I need to ask, did anyone get seriously hurt?" She shook her head. "No, thanks to quick thinking." "But Ethan, why? Why risk so much for revenge?" I shrugged, trying to hide my inner turmoil. I wanted to make her feel what I felt. But I miscalculated. Her eyes softened. "You miscalculated more than that. You're angry, yes, but that doesn't make it right. People could have been hurt." "I know," I admitted, voice tight. I didn't expect you to." I stopped, realizing I couldn't put it into words. My feelings were tangled with guilt, admiration, confusion. She studied me silently. "Do you ever stop to think what matters? Revenge, or someone who might matter?" Her words hit like a punch. Someone who might matter. Sophie. I didn't want to admit it, but the thought kept looping in my mind. "Don't tell anyone," I said finally, trying to regain control. This never happened." "Understood." "I understand," she replied, but her gaze lingered. "But you can't ignore this feeling, Ethan. You're spiraling, and I can't let anyone else get caught in it." I clenched my jaw. She was right. She always was. Yet, part of me wanted her close, wanted her to see the conflict raging inside me. Vanessa's shrill voice echoed again from the other end of the hallway. "You think you've won, Parker? You think?" I ignored her, focusing on Sophie. "We need a plan. Something tighter, smarter. No one else gets hurt next time." Sophie nodded, determination sharp in her eyes. "Agreed. But you need to stop letting anger guide you." I swallowed hard, realizing that anger alone couldn't drive me anymore. Not with her there. Then she dropped the bomb. "I know part of your plan, Ethan. I saw your setup before the gala." My stomach twisted. "You what?" "I warned you, didn't I? Collateral damage isn't acceptable," she said evenly. "You can't control everything." For the first time, I felt truly exposed, my carefully controlled revenge unmasked. Sophie's moral compass had cut through my intentions. And I had no idea if I wanted to punish her, or thank her. Sophie stood in my office, arms crossed, eyes sharp. "Ethan, enough games. Tell me the truth. What exactly are you planning?" I leaned back in my chair, pretending calm. "Planning? I don't know what you mean." She didn't blink. "Don't lie to me. I've seen the emails, the setups, the strange instructions you've been giving. This isn't about security anymore, is it?" I clenched my fists under the desk. "Fine. You want the truth?" I took a deep breath. "It's all about Vanessa. Every move I've made, every risk, it's for revenge." Her lips pressed into a thin line. "Revenge?" "Yes," I admitted, voice sharper than intended. "She betrayed me, humiliated me, and now it's my turn. I'm taking back control." Sophie stepped closer. "You don't understand what you're doing to yourself. Or to everyone around you. Do you even care about anyone else?" "I care about results," I snapped. "And right now, the result is her downfall." She didn't flinch. "And me? Do I even matter to you, or am I just another piece in your game?" I froze. Her gaze pierced me. I didn't mean to." "You did," she interrupted softly. "And yet here I am. I'm not leaving. But you need to realize how dangerous this is. For you, for me, for everyone else." I looked down, suddenly aware of my shaking hands. I don't know if I can stop. I thought I wanted revenge more than anything. But seeing you, caring, risking yourself, it's confusing. I don't know what I want anymore." Her expression softened, but the intensity never left her eyes. Good. Confusion is a start. It means you're realizing this isn't simple. You can't keep letting anger dictate your life. A notification buzzed on my phone. Vanessa. Ethan, your little secrets won't stay hidden. Pay up or your company will crash before the end of the week. I growled, dropping the phone. She's escalated. Blackmail now. Sophie glanced at the screen, frowning. This is serious. She's not just attacking you, she's trying to destroy everything you've built. I rubbed my face, trying to regain composure. I know. But I can't back down. Not yet. You can't do this alone, she said firmly. We need a plan. And I'll help, but only if we protect people, not just punish her. I swallowed hard. I don't deserve your help. Not after using you this way. She shook her head. You're human, Ethan. Flawed. You can't see it yet, but you're capable of more than revenge. Let me help you. I wanted to argue. I wanted to push her away. But her unwavering presence made me stop. For the first time, I realized how much I needed her judgment, her strength, her moral clarity. Just then the office door opened. Marcus and a few other colleagues stepped in. Sophie asked us to assist with the security sweep, Marcus said. We'll make sure there are no leaks, sir. I nodded reluctantly. Fine. But this isn't a social visit. Stay focused. They moved to work while Sophie turned back to me. You're spiraling, Ethan. Revenge is intoxicating, but it blinds you. You need to decide, continue down this path or figure out what matters. I looked at her, chest tight. And if I choose the wrong path? Then you risk losing everything. Including people who might matter more than your anger, she said softly, her voice carrying the weight of truth. The words cut deep. She wasn't just warning me, she was making me confront myself. I sank into my chair, guilt gnawing at me. I don't know if I can stop. I thought I wanted her downfall more than anything. But now, I'm not sure. Seeing you caring, it makes me question everything. Sophie stepped closer, placing a hand lightly on my shoulder. That's good. Questioning is the start of change. But you need to act before Vanessa, or anyone else, causes real damage. I swallowed hard, voice barely above a whisper. And if I fail? You won't fail, she said firmly. Not if we face it together. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Vanessa, more aggressive than before. I read it, teeth gritting. She's relentless. Sophie's eyes met mine. Then we're relentless too. But smarter. We act, not react. And we protect people in the process. No more chaos. I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. All right. Together. But, I hesitated, heart racing. I can't promise I won't still feel anger or desire revenge. She gave a faint, knowing smile. Good. Feel it, but don't let it control you. That's your choice. I stared at her, chest tight. My emotions were tangled, anger, guilt, admiration, something more dangerous I couldn't name. And then it hit me. I couldn't face Vanessa alone, and maybe for the first time I didn't want to. But I had no idea how much this choice would cost me. I sat in my office, staring at the city skyline, lost in thoughts I didn't want to face. Sophie entered quietly, closing the door behind her. You've been quiet all day, she said softly. What's going on in that head of yours? I ran a hand through my hair. I don't know anymore. Everything I planned, revenge, control, it feels hollow. She walked closer, eyes steady. And yet you keep going. Why? Because I'm afraid, I admitted, voice low. Afraid that if I stop, everything falls apart. Vanessa, my company, my reputation. It's all on the line. Sophie tilted her head. And what about you? What's at stake for you, Ethan? I swallowed hard. I thought it was just revenge. But now, you. Her lips pressed together briefly. Me? Yes. I took a deep breath. I've been using you, manipulating situations, keeping my focus narrow. But somewhere along the way I started caring. More than I should. She didn't pull back. Instead, she placed a hand lightly on my arm. Ethan, being vulnerable doesn't make you weak. Makes you human. It's not a flaw to feel. Her words hit me harder than any insult from Vanessa ever could. I wanted to push her away, to deny this growing attachment, but I couldn't. I wanted her there, wanted her trust. Then my phone buzzed, dragging me back into reality. Vanessa. Another message, more malicious than before. Ethan, your little secrets won't stay buried. Everyone will see the truth soon. I clenched my fists, my chest tightening. She's exposed it. My financial irregularities, all of it. I thought I controlled everything. I was wrong. Sophie's gaze softened but stayed firm. You didn't fail because of her. You failed because you tried to carry everything alone. Let me help. I shook my head. I can't. Not this time. People's trust, the board, the investors, they'll blame me. I'll lose everything. Not if we act quickly, she said, moving closer. You can't control the world alone, Ethan. But you can control how you respond. Her conviction struck me. I had been so focused on revenge, I forgot about solutions, about support. Sophie wasn't just a tool. She was a partner. I ran a hand over my face, feeling the weight of betrayal and the pull of something I couldn't name. I don't deserve your loyalty, I admitted. You do when you choose it, she said gently. But you have to choose it now. The phone buzzed again. Henry Collins, Vanessa's lawyer, this time. The public knows. Damage is irreversible. Your empire crumbles tonight. I felt a wave of panic. She's relentless. Sophie stepped closer, lowering her voice. Then we match her. Calm, deliberate, precise. Not blind anger. I looked at her, really looked for the first time. Her calm in the storm, her moral clarity, her unwavering trust. It made my chest tighten and my pulse race. I don't know if I can fix this. Yes, you can, she said firmly. And you will. But not alone. I swallowed hard. Sophie, I don't know what I'd do without you. Her lips curved faintly. You'd probably try to take revenge and fall apart in the process. I let out a humorless laugh. Probably. But now I have to think. About more than revenge. About you. Her hand remained on my arm, grounding me. I realized then how much I had underestimated the pull of trust, connection, and, dare I think it, love. Vanessa, meanwhile, had overplayed her hand. She exposed the scandal publicly, expecting chaos, expecting me to crumble. But with Sophie by my side, I felt an unfamiliar clarity. The boardroom calls, the investor panic. It was a storm, yes, but not one I had to face alone. Sophie whispered, "We act smart, Ethan. Don't let anger dictate the next move. Use your mind, not your hatred." I nodded slowly, absorbing every word. I think I can do that. With you. But I don't know if I can forgive her for everything. You don't have to forgive yet, Sophie said. But you have to protect what matters now. And that includes yourself. The storm outside mirrored the chaos in my mind, but inside the office, standing next to Sophie, I felt a strange calm. A clarity I hadn't known in months. I swallowed, finally speaking the words I'd kept locked away. I don't want revenge anymore. Not if it costs you, not if it costs us. I can't lose this, Sophie. I can't lose you. She smiled faintly, eyes glinting with warmth. Then don't. But you have to make choices carefully. Revenge is tempting, but life is more than that. I leaned back, exhausted but strangely alive. Vanessa's schemes were still out there, her attacks relentless, but my focus had shifted. Revenge was no longer the only goal. Protecting what mattered, keeping Sophie safe, and facing the chaos together, that was my priority. For the first time, I understood that winning didn't have to mean crushing her. Sometimes, it meant surviving, learning, and finding someone worth fighting for beside you. And Sophie, she was more than I had expected. More than a pawn, more than an ally. She was the anchor I didn't know I needed, the reason I might survive this storm with my soul intact. For the first time in months, I felt hope. I watched from my office window as Vanessa stormed into the boardroom, her face red with fury. Derek Shaw trailed behind her, arms crossed, expression unreadable. You promised me loyalty. Vanessa hissed, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. Derek didn't flinch. I promised integrity. Not blind obedience. Your schemes are over, Vanessa. I leaned back in my chair, chest tight. Satisfaction mingled with pity. She had dug her own grave, and everyone around her had abandoned ship. Sophie appeared beside me quietly. You okay? She asked softly, hand brushing mine. I thought I'd feel more triumph, I admitted. But watching her, it feels empty. Sophie's eyes held quiet wisdom. That's because this isn't about you anymore. It's about her choices catching up to her. Karma is doing its work. I nodded, thinking about how different it felt to let events unfold naturally rather than manipulating every move. Vanessa's downfall was inevitable. And yet, seeing her panic, knowing the board was distancing themselves from her, a part of me felt relief rather than victory. Derek stepped forward, voice calm but firm. Vanessa, the contracts you forged, the lies you spread, they're all documented. Legal action isn't necessary if you step down and cooperate. Her hand shook. You're all betraying me. Not betraying, Derek corrected. Just choosing truth over deception. Something you ignored. Sophie leaned closer to me. See? The world corrects itself sometimes. No need for schemes, Ethan. No need for revenge. I exhaled slowly, finally allowing myself to relax. I think I understand now. The anger, the plotting, it consumed me. But watching this, it's different. Satisfying in a quiet way, without me having to ruin anyone further. Vanessa's phone buzzed and she snapped at her lawyer. Henry, this can't happen. You can't let them take control. Henry Collins spoke firmly. You gambled and lost, Vanessa. Accept the consequences. Fighting will only make it worse. I watched her face fall. For once she had no tricks left. Her empire, carefully built on manipulation and deceit, crumbling under the weight of her own decisions. Sophie placed a hand on my shoulder, steadying me. You've grown, Ethan. You don't have to feel satisfaction from her ruin. You can feel relief, closure, and move forward. I swallowed hard, staring at her. It's strange. I thought I wanted revenge more than anything. But this, seeing justice happen without me orchestrating it, it feels lighter. Less toxic. Her smile was faint but warm. That's because you're learning the value of patience and integrity. You guided events when necessary, but you didn't become the destructive force you feared. I ran a hand through my hair, heart pounding. And you were right beside me the whole time. Supporting, challenging, keeping me grounded. I can't thank you enough. She shook her head. Don't thank me yet. Just remember what you've learned. And don't let power or anger guide you again. I glanced back at Vanessa, who was frantically trying to negotiate with Derek and the board. Do you ever pity people like her? I asked quietly. Sophie's gaze softened. Sometimes. But pity without growth doesn't help anyone. She'll face the consequences, yes, but that's not your burden anymore. I nodded, letting that sink in. My chest loosened, a weight lifting. Revenge had been a cage I willingly stepped into. Now, watching karma unfold naturally, I realized I could finally step out. Vanessa's voice rose again, desperate and pleading. This isn't fair. I built this company. Derek's calm reply cut through her panic. Fair doesn't exist in deception, Vanessa. Integrity does. And you chose against it. I exhaled, letting the tension leave my body. Sophie squeezed my hand lightly. Ready to move forward? I think so, I said, finally meeting her eyes. Not just surviving, but living. And maybe, learning to care without scheming behind it. Her faint smile mirrored the sunrise I could see through the office windows, warming the room in a quiet way. Then we start there. Together. I watched Vanessa finally slump, her fury replaced by resignation. I didn't feel triumph, only clarity. Justice didn't need my manipulation. It happened because of choices and consequences. And with Sophie by my side, I could finally face the future without anger as my guide. I exhaled deeply, feeling something I hadn't felt in months. Peace. Relief. And the tentative, powerful stirrings of something more. Trust, affection, and the possibility of love. For the first time, I wasn't plotting, controlling, or consumed by hatred. I was present. Fully. And I had Sophie to thank for that. I sat on the balcony, the city lights stretching endlessly below me. Sophie joined me silently, holding 2 mugs of tea. She handed me one, her fingers brushing mine. I felt a warmth I hadn't known for months. Thinking again? She asked softly. I exhaled. Always. About everything, about how I got here. How much I wanted revenge and how little I understood life along the way. She leaned against the railing beside me. And now, I trailed off, swirling the tea in my hands. Now I realized that anger, hatred, they don't fix anything. They only consume. I was ready to destroy myself along with her. Sophie's eyes met mine. And instead, I smiled faintly. Instead, I found clarity. I found you. I found that people who care, who act with integrity, they change everything. She chuckled softly. Flattery. You've improved. Not flattery, I said seriously. Truth. We sat in silence for a moment, watching the city breathe. I felt lighter than I had in months. The tension that had coiled inside me, the constant need for control, had loosened. You've grown, Sophie said quietly. From the man who thought revenge was everything to someone who can see life clearly. That's no small change. I looked at her, letting her words sink in. I don't know if I ever thanked you properly. For keeping me grounded, for challenging me, for being patient with me when I didn't deserve it. She shrugged, smiling faintly. Patience isn't infinite, but I believe in people when they're willing to see themselves clearly. You were ready to see yourself. I took a deep breath, letting the truth escape me. I don't know what I would have done without you. I'd probably still be plotting, still consumed by hate. Sophie nudged my shoulder gently. And now? Now, I said, finally feeling the weight lift, I want to live. Truly live. Not as Ethan Parker, the vengeful, controlling man, but as someone who values connection, trust, and love. With you. Her smile widened, warmth filling her eyes. Good. Because I've been waiting for you to arrive here. Not at the destination, but here, ready to let go and accept what matters. I let out a laugh, soft and relieved. I'm not used to letting go. But it feels right. Sophie looked at me with a steady, reassuring gaze. Life isn't about control, Ethan. It's about resilience, choices, and the people you let in. I nodded. I understand that now. Every betrayal, every misstep, every moment of rage taught me, not just about the world but about myself. And about what I want my life to be. Her fingers intertwined with mine. Then let's face it together. No schemes, no revenge, just trust. I felt my chest tighten, not with anger but with something deeper. Hope. Relief. Love. Together, I agreed. No more hiding behind walls, no more letting anger define me. Just us. The city lights reflected in her eyes, and for the first time, I didn't feel the need to control them. To control anything. I could just be present. Do you think everyone finds this clarity? I asked quietly. Not everyone, she admitted. But those who do, they become stronger, wiser, and happier. You're proof of that, Ethan. I smiled, leaning closer. Then I'll take it. Every lesson, every misstep, every challenge, it brought me here. And it brought me to you. Sophie rested her head lightly on my shoulder. And I'll stay here. With you. Through everything. I felt a warmth that had nothing to do with the tea. Relief. Comfort. Love. All in one fragile, perfect moment. I don't deserve this sometimes, I muttered. You do, she said softly, tightening her hold. Because you've learned. Because you're trying. That's enough. The world outside continued its chaos. Lights flickering, cars honking, people living their lives. But here, on this balcony, in this quiet moment, I felt like I had finally reclaimed myself. No more revenge. No more schemes. Just clarity, trust, and the future I could face, with Sophie. And for the first time I wasn't afraid. I exhaled, the city humming beneath us. Thank you, I whispered. For everything. Her fingers squeezed mine gently. No thanks needed. Just keep living, Ethan. That's the reward. I smiled, heart lighter than it had ever been. The journey had been brutal, filled with betrayal, anger, and pain. But it had led me here. To growth. To love. To trust. And with Sophie by my side, I finally believed I could face whatever came next. I watched the news silently, the screen filled with Vanessa's familiar face, now speaking through tears and excuses. Her empire had collapsed completely, investors pulling out, her allies abandoning her one by one. Karma had caught up, and I felt neither triumph nor glee, only a quiet, inevitable closure. Sophie sat beside me, her hand resting lightly on mine. She made her choices, she said softly. Now she's facing the consequences. I nodded, staring at the screen. I never realized how much energy I wasted hating her. I thought revenge would feel good. Instead, it only drained me. Sophie's eyes held a warmth that cut through months of anger. And yet, you learned. That's what matters. I exhaled, finally relaxing. You know, if you hadn't been there, I don't think I'd have survived this without losing myself completely. She smiled faintly. I told you I wouldn't let you. But you had to want it too. You had to choose growth over obsession. I leaned back, taking in her presence. I think I finally understand. Life isn't about controlling everything or punishing those who wrong you. It's about moving forward, trusting, and, I hesitated, letting the word linger, loving. Sophie's hand tightened gently around mine. Exactly. And now you can. I looked at her, really looked. The woman who had started as a quiet observer, a professional bodyguard, had become the anchor of my life. Calm, firm, patient, and uncompromising in her integrity. I realized then that love wasn't about power or control. It was about connection, honesty, and shared strength. Do you ever think about how far we've come? I asked softly. All the time, she replied. From the chaos to here. But it wasn't just me guiding you, it was your choice to change. I just helped you see it. I smiled faintly. I think I finally know who I want to be. Not the man consumed by revenge, not the man blinded by pride. Just me. And with you beside me, I can face anything. She leaned closer. And I'll be there. Through every choice, every challenge. No games, no schemes, just us. The thought made my chest tighten. I had spent so long trying to control everything, anticipating every betrayal, calculating every move. And yet, the most important thing, the one thing I couldn't plan for, was trust. Sophie's trust. Her loyalty. Her love. I never want to go back to that, I admitted quietly. The schemes, the obsession, the anger, it's exhausting just thinking about it. Sophie smiled, brushing a strand of hair from my face. Then don't. Keep moving forward. Focus on the life you want to build, not the revenge you thought you needed. I nodded, finally letting a deep breath escape me. And we'll build it together. No lies, no manipulation, just trust, love, and resilience. Her fingers laced with mine. Exactly. And everything else? It fades. I glanced back at the news. Vanessa's office building was nearly empty, her staff dispersing, her future uncertain. A part of me felt pity, she had burned herself out completely, but I didn't dwell on it. The past was gone. What mattered now was here in this room with Sophie. You ever think about what life would have been like if we hadn't met? I asked softly. She chuckled. I'd probably still be guarding people, quietly watching, wondering if someone like you could ever change. And now, she said, leaning against me, we face the world together. No secrets. No plans for revenge. Just us. I exhaled, feeling the weight of months of anger, betrayal, and chaos finally lift. Us, I repeated. The word felt solid, comforting, and real. I had finally learned the lesson I'd needed all along. That life wasn't about vengeance, but about connection, trust, and the courage to love despite the scars. The city lights flickered below, vibrant and alive. I held Sophie's hand a little tighter, savoring the moment. For the first time, I wasn't planning, manipulating, or anticipating betrayal. I was present, fully. And I was ready to face the future, not as a man consumed by hate, but as a man transformed by love and trust. Sophie smiled faintly, sensing my thoughts. Ready? I nodded, feeling a calm I hadn't known for years. Ready. We stepped away from the window, hand in hand, leaving the past behind. Vanessa's downfall was complete. Our future was just beginning. And this time I knew we would face it together.